Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Winona. This is Winona Reads. Or welcome if you're new here. So today I wanted to do something a little different. I usually do like monthly TBRs, but I've seen everybody kind of doing like an end of the year TBR, and I thought that sounded so fun. So I wanted to do my jar picks. I have 2 jars now. One for books on my shelves to kind of get my shelves down a little bit, and then I have a jar for repeat authors. So if I have 2 or more books from the same author, I pick out a name and then read their, books back to back. And that is something that I was gonna start in January, but I figure why not start right before the end of the year. So let's get started. I don't remember which jar is which. I want to say this one is the author one because it is smaller, I'm assuming. So it is kind of hard to shake up because it's pretty full, but I'm going to just do one author and then 2 or 3 out of the book titles. So first up is Shakespeare, which I haven't read since like last year, so that's kind of a good way to end the year. I'll have to see. I don't remember which ones I've read, honestly, so I think there's still a couple on my shelves that I haven't. I ended up picking like a bunch of, I think they're Penguin classics, but they're like a certain cover for all of them, and so I had bought a bunch of them, and I think there's still a couple I haven't read up there, but a lot of them I did get to, like I think it was last summer. I want to preface this by saying don't laugh at this jar because I don't have any jars in the house that were big enough, so this is actually a lantern. Okay, ready? This is what all my book choices from my bookshelf are in. It's not that full, it only goes up to here, so almost halfway, but this is the only thing I had that was big enough to hold them because I did it on like cardstock instead of sticky notes, so the choices are like a lot thicker, but at least that's loud. At least I'm able to shake it up a little bit. Oh, there's so much dust coming out. I hope you can't see that. That's so embarrassing. Okay. Number 1 is The Heartbeat of a Wounded Knee. Is that it? Yep, The Heartbeat of a Wounded Knee, which would be a good nonfiction November choice. I'll have to see if that's on audiobook because it is quite large. Ooh, Burnt Sugar. That's a good one that I've been wanting to get to for a while. We'll do one more. All the way at the bottom. Oh, I bought 2. I got 2. Should I pick which one I'd rather read first? Okay. So another non-fiction November one, The Cartiers by Francesca Burkell. Or is it Cartier? It's about the diamond industry and the diamond family. And then this one is a recent purchase that I actually picked up when we were in Phoenix. It's Asymmetry by Lisa Halliday. So let's get these off of my shelves, and then I will show you a couple other ones that I've been having in my stack for mood reading. I want this to be as realistic as possible, so there's a lot here. This is one that I really want to get to because of December and the holidays. Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. This is just a rom-com. It says Melody may be the daughter of music royalty, but her world is far from glamorous. B. Dawkins, the lead singer's son, is Melody's opposite. The camera loves him. He could charm the pants off of anyone. While dealing with rock star shenanigans, a 24-hour film crew, brawling Santas, mobs, and adoring fans, Mel starts to step out of her comfort zone with Beat by her side. But Christmas Eve is approaching and a decade-old scandal is poised to wreck everything. Interesting. Haven't read any like music-related books, probably since Daisy Jones and the Six, but I love Tessa Bailey's writing, and I think this would just be something like kind of cozy for maybe like a Sunday morning to just sit next to the fireplace and read during Christmas time. So super cute. I'm excited. This one I've been reading since February, but I took it off of my nightstand and haven't thought about it in a while. But Swan Song, I still remember everything that I've read. I was on page 105, so I do want to finish this before the end of the year, just because like it should not take me a year to finish this book. It is only like over 400 pages, which isn't that big, even though it looks, I feel like it looks a little bit bigger. And it was good. It just was very slow, and I wasn't in the mood for a slow book at the time. But I think now that I've met my goals and I'm starting to slow down a little bit, that this would be something to, you know, kind of take my time with and start back up. I also wanted to give this another try. I did start it, but I only got a couple pages in, and it was interesting, but it didn't grab my attention right away. So I want to give this one more time as well and really get into, because it is something that everyone has talked about, and I love her writing, so I know it'll be good. And I keep saying I want to pick this up, so I do want to finish this before the end of the year as well. I don't know if you know what these are about. I probably should have gone back and said that. Swan Song is about the Truman Capote era. He is very scandalous during that time. He is very gossipy and talks about all the females that he knows, talks about them behind their back. There's mentions of Jackie Onassis's sister that he was really close with, that family. So again, it is definitely interesting. It's just something that takes a while to get into. And Babel, I feel like everyone has talked about. If you don't know what this is about, dark academia. In 1828, Oxford has discussions about the use of language and translation as the dominating tool of the British Empire. It did start off good. Like I said, it just wasn't, I wasn't like really being invested and like pushing myself to get further in it. And so I want to like kind of go back and take my time with that. Let's see. One of the jar picks was Burnt Sugar by Avni Dashi. I didn't realize she's from New Jersey. That's funny. This is something that has been on my shelves for quite a while, and again, heard great things about. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2020, so something that I think a lot of people were talking about a couple years ago, but I haven't seen that many people pick it up since then. It says this is a love story and a story about betrayal, but not between lovers, between a mother and daughter. In her youth, Tara was wild. She abandoned her arranged marriage to join an ashram, embarked on a stint as a beggar, and spent years chasing a homeless artist, all with little Antara in tow. But now Tara's forgetting, and Antara is an adult, an artist, and married, and she must confront the task of caring for a woman who never cared for her. That sounds really good, and honestly that sounds like something I would be in the mood for right now. I did just finish Asha Lemmy's 50 Words for Rain, and it was so good, and I just feel like this kind of has that same vibe of like, you know, caring for people that don't care for you. Even though 50 Words for Rain really wasn't like that, but it still had the traumatic experience, and I think this is going to be great as well. It sounds heartbreaking. After that, my author pick was Shakespeare, and I did have to go through my titles. These are the covers that I had picked. They are Oh, the Pelican series, the Penguin Pelican series. But I picked Macbeth and Much Ado About Nothing. I had to go through and look because I did, like I said, read a chunk of these. I think I have like 8 titles up there, and these are the only 2 that don't have highlighter in them, so I am assuming that I have not read them yet. I will check my Goodreads to make sure. These titles are just, or not titles, covers are just so cool. So interesting. And I don't know what they are about, and I'm going to go in it that way because I think it's more fun with classics to not know what to expect. I think it makes it a lot less dry in the sense of classic reading. Like when you know the plot line, sometimes the story takes a little bit longer, so I don't want to look into those. Although Macbeth I think is something to do with kings, I'm assuming, but the other one I don't know what it's about. And then the other title jar pick that I had was Asymmetry by Lisa Halliday. And this won the 2017 Whiting Award. And this says, told in 3 distinct and uniquely compelling sections, Asymmetry explores the imbalances that spark and sustain many of our most dramatic human relations. Inequities with age, power, talent, wealth, fame, geography, and justice. The first section, Folly, tells the story of Alice, a young American editor, and her relationship with the famous and much older writer Ezra Blazer. Madness is narrated by Amar, an Iraqi-American man who, on his way to visit his brother in Kurdistan, is detained by immigration officers and spends the last weekend in 2008 in a holding room in Heathrow. It's pretty impressive. It won an award and it was a debut. Interesting. This is one of the books that I bought when we were in Phoenix at a cool like bar slash, always peeling stickers, you know? It was a bar slash bookstore, and we didn't stay long because they had no food and we were starving, but I wish we could have like experienced it a little bit more because it was a very cool place. But this sounds so interesting. This was more of a cover buy for me, but it also was blurbed by, or not blurbed by, it was reviewed, it had one of the review cards from someone that worked in the store, and they like rated it 5 stars, so I was kind of going out of my comfort zone in that bookstore and picking stuff that I wouldn't normally pick, and this was one of the options. So these are the other 2 nonfictions that I picked up in. Are you ready? They're ginormous, absolutely ginormous. This one is over 500 pages. And this one is less than, okay, there's a lot of research in the back, so it's a little over 400. This one is a National Book Award finalist. This one is the untold story of the jewelry empire, the Cartiers, by Francesca Cartier-Britell. So since her name is part of it, I wonder if she wrote this piece on her family. But yeah, this is an historical piece about the family and the growing diamond business. This does sound really interesting though. I do hope that they have these on Libby or something, because stuff like this does take me a while because there's so much information, and not that there's no plot, because like history is history, like something always happens, but I just feel like sometimes the writing can be so dry in nonfiction that having like a voice, like listening to a voice while reading it, kind of makes it a little bit more interesting and read a little bit more like fiction, in the sense of like being faster than, you know, just reading fact after fact after fact. So there are pictures in here, which is kind of cool too. And then this one is the Native American 1890 to present history. It is the Heartbeat of Wounded Knee by David Truer, and essentially this is about the massacre in 1890 of more than 150 Sioux Indians at Wounded Knee. And again, something that I don't know much about. There are pictures in this as well. But this will definitely be interesting. I think this is something that not a lot of people talk about, and I haven't seen stuff like this reviewed. And then one of the other ones that I did pick up was The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. Now, I've had this on my shelves since we lived in our apartment. So we've been here for 6, almost 7 years. So I'm gonna say I've had this book for over 8 years and I've never picked it up. I've heard great things. It is a novel that begins on a winter night in 1964 when a blizzard forces Dr. David Henry to deliver his own twins. Oh, it says his son is born first and perfectly healthy, and then he recognizes his daughter has Down syndrome. And it's blurbed by the author of The Secret Life of Bees. So I think this is going to be another one that, and just having a really good, like, compassionate, like, enriched writing style. So I think that's going to be another one that, like, kind of pulls at your heart a little bit. I did pick up, when I was downstairs, Edith Wharton's Custom of the Country, just because I have been craving to read this classic. I don't know why, but I also for some reason feel like it's going to be really good for winter time. Again, I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure it starts off in like spring, or like most of it, if I can remember correctly. I have read this before, but I think a lot of it was like springtime. It's just something for some reason I've been wanting to reread. As far as mood reading, like maybe it'll keep my attention if I start it, because I have been very much in like a mood reading vibe. So I've been, reading a little bit of each book, and then if I just don't like it in the moment, then I put it back. I don't force myself to read it, because I'm finding that if I force myself into something, I don't rate it the way I should. And so I've tried a couple different books recently and read like, the first chapter or two, and, find myself being like, okay, this isn't not what I expected, but this isn't like a good starting point for me. And so I don't want to push myself to read it and then rate it poorly, because it just wasn't something I was in the mood for in that moment. So going off of that, I did say in my last vlog that I had started Ghost by Dolly Alderton, and I did try to start that. That was one that I just wasn't vibing with at the time. And then I did also start, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to it or if I'm going to push through, The Land of Milk and Honey. And I started that last night. I got a chapter in. The writing style wasn't what I expected, so I kind of put it down for a little, and I did go ahead and start this, Anita Hughes' Christmas in Paris, and I'm already 73 pages in. It's just a palette cleanser. Is it great writing? No, it's better than her last one, I'll give her that. But it is just another sweet Christmas story, Hallmarky kind of. The writing style is easy to, sit in one setting and kind of read all at once. But I would say a lot of these books I wouldn't necessarily recommend, because there are a lot of stuff, like there's holes in the storyline and emotion that is lacking, and the clarity isn't there, but the Christmas aspect is there. So it was just captured. Why am I stuttering? It is just what captured my attention. I think this is something that I'll finish by probably tomorrow, and have the whole weekend to start something else. I do also have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros that my husband started and he's working through, so that is something that I want to read before the end of the year. It's not in my pile because he's still working through it, so I don't want to mess up any of the pages or anything. I'm trying to think of what else I have downstairs. I have The Idiot by Elif Batuman, and I think that's it. I think that's it for what I want to try to get to. So this is my end of the year TBR. Let's see, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Do we think I can do it? 13 books? I don't know. I also have a lot on Kindle and a lot on my library audio books, so this might not be accurate, but these are the physical copies that I am thinking of getting to before the end of the year. Let me know what you are reading and what you would like to get to before the end of the year. And I am just excited to spend more time, not that I don't love making TBRs, but sometimes it is hard to follow them. So I am excited to kind of get this video out and then spend more time doing cozier stuff like reading and baking with the kids or doing arts and crafts and like just having a Christmassy vlogmas instead. So yeah, let me know what you are getting into and what you are enjoying, and keep reading. I will see you soon. Bye.